Welcome to another casting of a solo queue game of pro players. My name is Ryan, the FCC Lowline, and today I'm going to be viewing EG's Impact, the top laner for the team. Now, Impact has had a tenured career in the LCS and really in pro play in general, and he has been a consistent top performer. The question is, how does he do in solo queue? Right, so we're looking at him play Graves top now, a wonderful laner now, used to be a jungler, used to be ADC way back in the day, but now Graves has taken over laning again, right? He is good in the top lane. He's able to CS very well, harass very well, good dueling potential, armor stacking, you name it. And builds usually go for the crit route this time around. There have been people that have done lethality and stuff in the past, but the mythic you're probably going to get is lethality, probably Eclipse, and then you're probably going to build into crit after that for more consistent DPS and damage on your side. Now, he is facing Akali in the top lane with the TP and Ignite, a more aggressive summoner spell pick, and I do expect him to not actually do that bad into this. He does have some good range. He does have some good fight in him. If Akali plays this right, though, the lane can be difficult, but we're just going to have to see what happens. Leashing for Billy in the jungler, the Viego, giving him a topside red buff leash. Akali's going to know that he's not there right now. Probably going to assume that he is leashing red, especially when he comes late. So she should get the level 2 first if she's able to CS at all, but it looks like she's not even killing one of the minions yet. So Impact's going to be just fine. He actually gets a kill first, and all is well in the world. Now, as you can see already, the range advantage coming in, right? Akali uses the Q, and in the early levels, her Q trading is actually not going to really be there. She Qs once, and it's already under half. So that means it's going to be a lot harder for her to actually take these all-in trades. And with Graves having that range and fleet footwork for the sustain, if she uses a Q, she doesn't have anything up to harass him with. He hits level 2 first, throws the Q out, gets a little bit of damage, but nothing much to really write home about. And even though Akali hits level 2, she probably took E second. We're going to find out in a second. But Graves, once again, doing what he does best. He's shoving in the lane, pushing her under tower, causing her to stay back. She can't really take trades at this early in the game. She doesn't have Shroud. She doesn't have a way to take those trades reliably to get that energy back. And he's just playing to his range advantage, right? He's using his Q, using his range, dashing back and forth here, right? Walking back and forth, making sure that she's not able to walk up and Q. And if she does Q, she doesn't have any consistent damage when she does it. Her energy is going to be low. The Q comes out, good harass. She's under half energy, and she's not able to do anything here. This is an oppressive play from Impact right now. He's shoving it into the tower. She has to play up. She's going to trade once again with the Q, but it doesn't matter because look at that trading damage. Graves is going to be able to survive a lot better, and with fleet footwork, he's going to be able to do it a lot more reliably than Akali is. She has Conqueror, and the Q lands again, so he's able to get the Q auto off. It hits both procs of the Q, and Akali is just desperately trying to survive in this lane right now. Impact using the laugh, getting into the mind of revenge right now. Throws the Q out, only hits the first part, doesn't hit the second bounce back. Not really auto trading, and he's low on mana now, so that means his spell casting is not going to be as strong, right? He's not going to be able to throw out Qs left and right, and Akali might have the advantage here, right? His auto attacks are good, auto attacks are strong, but his Q is going to be a lot of his burst damage, and with no mana to do so, it's going to be hard. Roaming down into the river, places a little bit of a deep ward in the river to make sure he does not get ganked by Xin Zhao. Very good ward placement for him. Just able to see the main entrance and exit of his jungle. He's going to be able to see if the scuttle's taken. There is a ward down there that didn't spot the scuttle, or he didn't spot it. So now he's pushing up. He's able to try and do some damage here, but he has no idea Xin Zhao is coming behind. Akali uses the Shroud. She's able to get the Q off. He knows he's dead to rights here. There's no way he should get out. He lands the first part of the Q, but doesn't get the second. He's trying desperately to get the kill. Is he going to get the auto? He doesn't. The Ignite comes out, and instead of letting Akali get that kill, Xin Zhao kills him off with a W. Now, that was good. I don't know if the Ignite would have necessarily fully killed him, but Xin Zhao picking up that first blood, or second blood rather, is wonderful for him. He's just going to TP back up to the top lane. Nothing else to be said. It was a sort of mistake. He didn't check the river. He didn't check. You couldn't see that the Scuttle Crab actually went down unless you actively went to check on your ward. Just unfortunate timing, right? He took the Scuttle, then he wrapped around the top side. It's just playing really aggressively with your advantage, and then having it get punished by the Xin Zhao. Smart jungle pathing from him, but More trading happening in the top lane. You can tell that this is just a matchup that he is playing very well. But here comes Xin Zhao. Impact's jungler, though, he also read this incredibly well. And he dashes in on the Graves. He gets more armor for this. Xin Zhao Qs, but he's not able to get the third Q off. The stun comes in. The first part of the Q lands. The second part of the Q lands. And they're going to tower dive for this. You have to believe they get one more kill. Viego, not able to possess the Akali. Would be dangerous to do so now as it's under tower. But wonderful play. And Impact hits level 6 and is able to pick up the kill on the other side. Perfect timing from the jungler, from Billy, to read that gank coming in, and there was nothing else to be said about it. Xin Zhao was just out jungled there, a level down, and landing the snare on the Viego, landing the 2 parts of the Q from Graves, all that burst damage coming out. There's nothing else to be said. Akali not able to hit 6 either, no dueling power there, and all is well in the world for Impact. Now, shoving in the top wave, as per usual, being able to get ahead in this matchup. He is up about 14 CS, 13 CS, and Akali's running in. She knows she can try to fight this, but she whiffs the Q, and so now she's at a disadvantage, actually. He knows that the Q is not going to be able to be used. Actually is used, though, and a little bit of trading, but again, nothing to write home about. Dashes over the wall to get a little safety, so that way if something happens, he can just blast cone away. Impact playing this lane pretty damn well, right? The red team is up about 3,000 in gold at the moment, and it looks like the lead is just starting to amass even more. Impact already working hard towards his first items. Leona's backstop by the Lulu. And it is Ayla, by the way. TL's Ayla. Viego goes in, steals the big raptor. He is a full level ahead of the Xin Zhao at this point, and that is wonderful for dueling and fighting. Akali from the top side, though, roaming down mid. Impact is not able to be there in time to stop anything. In fact, he's just going back top to farm. Ayla comes in, is able to stun the Kog'Maw. Akali trying her damnedest to get the kill off, but she's not able to do it, and she actually gets pulled back. And Victor, living by the skin of his teeth on this one, is phenomenal for him. And there goes the Viego flashing in once again. The Ignite disrespect from Leona, though, is able to pick off that kill. And the true damage is trying to come in from Kog'Maw, but just goes for the wave instead. There's no kill to be found with Leona or the Victor. But in the meantime, though, if we go to the top side, you can see that this Graves has been getting tower plating. He's able to push his lead even more. A full level up on the Akali. 3 full tower plates. She hasn't touched his at all. And he's up about 13 CS. So this is starting to amass a very big lead for the Graves. He's going to be able to do so much with the work that he's putting in. And Xin Zhao, though, knowing this, knowing that he's overstayed his welcome, is coming to gank, and Impact is in a rough spot. The Shroud is used. The Xin Zhao is able to get the 3rd knockup going in, and it is as easy as that. It was just perfectly played from the other side. There was no room for Impact to do anything there. Perfectly executed CC, perfectly executed burst, no missed abilities, means you get the kill. And that, once again, gives a shutdown to Akali. Actually, rather Xin Zhao, she didn't get that kill, which is very unfortunate. But it is alright, too, because you do want to get your Xin Zhao ahead. Rift Herald now being taken by the blue team, and this might get spotted out by the Viego if he's able to come over from his Raptors. And he's incredibly strong right now, but they're going to commit to it. And because they're committing to it, though, look at the Leona and the Viego go. Viego is so much stronger, and he's able to get the kill onto this Kog'Maw. It looked like maybe they were going to give it to the Victor, but decided against it. Just get the kill. Don't risk losing the kill. And now bot lane's completely shoved up. If Ayla comes down here, I don't think they're actually going to be able to fight, but it does scare them away. They're not going to be able to fight the Tristana. They're not going to dive her. They're not going to do anything else. There looks like there was only 1 tower plate taken, so none lost for the bot lane, really. And as we go back into the Graves matchup right now, he is up still consistently about 13 CS, 14 CS. And Akali is just trying desperately to keep up with the wave clear. Now that Graves has cleared it all up, he is roaming down into the river, puts a ward into the brush, is able to get vision, and he's taken the Scuttlecraft. This is going to give him some extra security if he decides to commit to taking this, as he'll be able to see Xin Zhao come through his exit, come through bot side, and he also has the ward in his brush. Extra gold too. Can't complain. Now Akali pushing up, she finally sees the Graves come back into lane, and she has to be careful now because Graves is ahead of her right now in the matchup. That second Q landing means that he can go for this trade. Now, does Impact dash? He does. He's able to get a little bit more armor, and Akali is losing this trade. The smoke screen comes out, misses the first and second part of the Q, so that burst damage isn't quite there, but his ult is off cooldown right now, and Akali does not have Ignite or TP, so if Graves wants to go for this play, he can. but so far not opting into it. He does dash in, he lands the first part of the Q, but it doesn't come in. She eased back actually into him, and she's using the Shroud. Now, is she going to be able to get out of here? It doesn't look like she quite can. The Q misses. Oh, but she actually gets hit by the first part, and the ulti is going to finish it off. That's just a wonderful play from Impact, a wonderful solo kill. With no Ignite up, and Graves just being as tanky as he is, there's just no way you're going to win that duel, especially when he has a level lead on you and Mauve Malmortius with some lifesteal, right? Akali has a bit of armor pen, or a magic pen rather, and outside of that, she's down 20 CS. The damage just isn't there for you. And that first tower is going to be huge for the influx of gold for him as well. Even though the rest of his team is not massively ahead except for Viego, all is well in this world. And actually, I am mistaken. The rest of his team is actually pretty massively ahead. It's about a 3k gold lead right now as we speak. Victor is ahead by a good margin. Viego is ahead by a pretty damn good margin. And also, Impact himself is up 30 CS. The closest lane right now is the bot lane. Zeri having 2 kills, Tristana only having 1, and being pretty close in CS means that that is the matchup that could shift the game. But Impact, just teaming back to the top lane, just wants to keep it down to business, wants to keep split pushing, keep pressuring, and this time he can invade the jungle with Viego. He dashes in, but Akali's nowhere to be found. Viego sees her though, and the fight is starting to break out. He puts his Shroud up, but Akali says, I don't want any part of this, and gets out. And at this point, she's so far behind, right? There's nothing you can really do here. Victor's starting to do so much damage, and both this Kog'Maw and Akali being low means that they can pressure the mid lane. They could potentially bust this game wide open through the mid tower and have so much pressure in the jungle. It's not looking good for the blue team. And Victor and Viego, they can just position aggressively here, right? There's not much else to be said about it. They're going in as hard as they can. Viego decides against it though and just goes for the Raptors. They know that they can't be contested. They know that they have mid priority right now. And so Lulu and Kog'Maw just have to kind of sit there and watch everything happen. They do trade a tower in the bot lane though. Zeri getting that gold, that is phenomenal for her. If she can snowball and get further ahead, she could potentially carry the game. But as of right now, it seems like it's a large gap to overcome. Graves once again trading. I mean, look at the sustain he's able to have, right? He's not able to do anything here against the Graves, right? Look at the Akali just having to roam back around. Can't even stay in lane for fear of getting dove. Just goes mid to try and help out. And as a fight breaks out, Ayla gets killed. But at this point, look, the Tristana ults 3 people into the Viego, but it doesn't matter. There's nothing else to be done. Has to flash away. Viego does do a lot of damage, but they're getting chipped out too. But here comes Impact and Victor, full health, trying to come in here. And boom, that's another kill right away. The ult used from the Graves. Perfectly well played. Xin Zhao dives, or rather Viego in Xin Zhao form dives, and just keeps going for these kills. I mean, they're so aggressive with it. They have such a massive lead. They break open the mid tower, and now they are finally able to pressure even harder than before. Graves dashing in, trying to get the Q off. Does get some damage, but it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, that is 2 kills. 4-1 on the support of Ayla, and then they continue fighting. Tristana jumps in, though, to try and get some damage off. Gets the satchel on, gets the bomb planted on him, but doesn't amount to any real meaningful damage. She's going to recall anyway right after this. Graves going back topside though. I mean, once again, it's just a farm fest at this point. They have a lead. There's no need to throw it. No need to toss everything out the window as one would normally do in solo queue because it is a fiesta. But Graves sensing something is wrong, knowing it off of some vision that they have, that there could be a potential gank, but there is actually no vision. It's just the Scuttler. Maybe he saw a glimpse of Lulu or Kog'Maw on it, but just sensing something's wrong, maybe sensing that something could potentially happen, decides to back away. He does have his mythic item and upgraded Mauve Malmortius, so that means he's going to be able to take in any fight with any AP champion in this game, no problem. So he's going to continue probably laning against this Akali, pressuring his advantage, pressuring his lead, and just making sure that she is suffocated in this game because he's already up over 40 CS and he's up 3 kills. There's nothing to be done here, right? Viego once again also able to get another kill. Tristana jumps away to safety. Xin Zhao already used his gap closer, so he's not able to do anything. Oh, I lied. It comes back off of cooldown and he's able to do it, but there comes the CC coming in. Viego is just getting kills on the backside though, and so even though Ayla could potentially die here, it doesn't matter. Ayla lives with a sliver and Victor gets another kill, but it means that while in the mid lane there is a shutdown onto Billy, the Viego jungler, and that is a pretty big shutdown actually, to be told. He was 7-1 right before he died, and that's all going into the pockets of Zeri, actually, which is, again, their win condition right now, right? Xin Zhao is good, but Zeri is your DPS, and she's going to be the one to try and carry these fights, potentially, if the game goes that long. Impact, though, just soloing the Rift Herald, decides, you know what, I'm pressuring enough top lane, they might be freezing, I don't want to overextend, I'm just going to go and get Rift Herald, and we can use that to crack a tier 2. Just flexing the lead at this point, right? If you have an objective up that's going to be uncontested, why not go for it? And he does so perfectly. Zeri, though, getting fed in the mid lane. What we missed is a kill onto the support of Ayla. I don't know if they engaged or went under tower, but here comes Impact. Look at the damage he's starting to do. He actually does half health him, and it doesn't matter the ult to finish it off. I mean, there was a little bit of damage from Trist, but that was just the pure power that Impact on Graves has right now. The impact, rather, that he's making in this game. And since Tristana's behind, maybe he was going to take red buff, but he decided against it. He said, no, I'll give it to Tristana if she really wants it. But even though he's low on mana here, he is so strong and up a level that he could fight Akali if he wants to. Lands the Shirk, and is she going to go back in? She does. Is she going to be able to ult to get out of this? Maybe. It's off. It's on cooldown, actually, so she can't. And look at how low she's getting here. She's dead. There's no way out of it. And there's just so much auto damage. There's just so much that he's dishing out that I don't even think Viego was needed, to be completely honest with you, but it did help in securing the kill. Lulu roaming around in the jungle here, knowing that something is up. Xin Zhao and Viego just trying to fight each other, and it's a 3-level lead. I mean, that is a jungle gap for you, right? Knowing that Viego is up 3 levels on your Xin Zhao, and Viego is going to be a more useful carry is insane. And look at this, Graves is up 5 levels. Sure, he has to flash out of the way there, but it doesn't matter. Viego goes in, he's able to get the kill. Impact did so much damage. This would almost be considered inting, honestly, right? Like, Xin Zhao is not able to do anything this game, and it has just been a massacre from the side of the red team on that front. Zeri is their only win condition, as much as I keep saying it and harping on it. It is going to be their damage, and it's looking disastrous, though, right? Like, your Akali is 0-5, your Kog'Maw is 0-5. The CS discrepancies are just monumental, and you're really not going to have any way of coming back into this game if it continues to go at this pace. Akali doesn't even have her Mythic completed yet, and Graves has 2 fully completed items, almost a third already, probably going for Collector. And she's still so far behind. And look at Viego as well. Viego has 2 fully completed items and steel caps versus a Xin Zhao with only Gore Drinker, really. It's just so far gone at this point, it feels like. Lulu waiting in the brush here with Zeri. This is the only chance for them to kill him. Zeri ult is able to go forward, is trying to pick off the Graves, and they could potentially do it. Is Lulu tanking the tower for her? He is. They're diving, and Zeri does so much damage, and it doesn't matter. For the Graves, he tried desperately to hang on, didn't have flash, used his ult. It was a lot of damage, as you can tell. They started off full health, full mana, but at the end of that fight, they walk away almost torn. If you imagine maybe he has flash up, or maybe he was able to use his ult in a slightly better way, it could have been a different fight, so it was scary nonetheless. Zeri getting that shutdown, though, also means that she is even more relevant than anyone else on her team, ahead of the Tristana by a wide margin. And like I said, she's going to be the win condition for this team. But all the control on the map for objectives goes to the red team, right? Sure, Zeri gets a tower objective bounty, fine. But now we're seeing Soul Point for the red team. We're seeing so many other monumental leads. In the jungle, as a prime example, 4-level difference. In the mid lane, as an example, a 2-level difference with a almost 60 CS gap. Zeri has to be the solo carrier. Lulu has to stick to the Zeri and protect her at all costs if anything needs to go right in this game. But I just don't think it's going to be possible or feasible, right? The burst damage is going to be too much. Graves is almost to a point where he's going to be breaking anybody who walks in front of him. Viego's useful in any team fight, especially if he happens to possess Zeri, because she's the most fed on her team. I don't know how they get out of this. It's going to be a doomsday sort of thing. Leona engages, though, onto the Lulu. Ultis doesn't really get anything out of it. Xin Zhao is going to try to go in here, and he does, but he has a suicide wish because there's no way you're ever going to get that kill. Now, Tristana does die, but she is so far behind it doesn't really matter. He picks up Xin Zhao, but he's one of the weaker carriers right now, and he goes down, actually, and that's a big shutdown onto the Viego and also the Victor. That is a massive misplay from the red team. They didn't fight with the Graves, and because of that, they get punished. The hyper carry on the side of the blue team was able to pick up 2 important massive kills onto some of the most fed people on the red team, and that means they're still in this game. It's still close enough for them to be able to come back from. And here's another pickoff. Ayla dies again to the Zeri. She goes legendary 9-0-3. Now Zeri's laning phase isn't the strongest, right? But if she's able to get these kills, if she's able to get rolling, she's going to be able to be a lot more impactful than some of the other carries in the game. And as we saw, her going legendary right now, I mean, she has Black Cleaver, she has Triforce, she has Zerka's Greaves, and she's almost got her team at. She's probably going to try the recall right now and hopefully afford that team at, or that Titanic Hydra, because if she has it, she's going to be dishing out a lot of DPS. Let's see if she does. Looks like she's potentially waiting for gold to get it. We're going to see in a second. Graves also recalling. She did get the Titanic Hydra. She had to wait for a little bit of gold. If she had the red buff, she probably would have had it. But she's at a huge spike now too. And look at Graves. Graves also has hit 3 items with a crit cloak. So he's going to be dishing out a lot of damage as well. But it's all going to come down to the positioning of the team fights for Zeri, right? Is she going to be able to actually position appropriately to get her DPS off, to attack the people who are the most fed, and to win the team fight for her team? Because the rest of her team is just not strong enough to do it right now. She does walk forward a little bit, does some damage, but it doesn't actually amount to much. In fact, it amounts to nothing. There's no trade that happened there. Trying to clear vision. This is risky for her. If she walks a little bit out of place, she could potentially get caught by a Leona ulti. But she does have Lulu in her pocket, so that could be a huge saving grace for her right now. She does have the cleanse, so if she does get CC'd, she can just get out of it, but still, better to not waste a summon spell if you can afford to. But it is a stalemate right now. Nothing really happening, just the farming game happening. Akali trying to catch up on the top side, trying to farm up the waves, catch up to this Graves, but he is so monumentally ahead that it doesn't really matter. They're trying to funnel all the gold they possibly can into Zeri. I'm sure Kog'Maw would like some of that, but right now, that is just their most useful carry, and you just have to hope that she can carry you to some LP. But Impact doing a signature move down in the bot lane. They are having him split push. He is 2 levels up, but in the meantime, because he's not there, they started up the Baron. They used the scrying plant in order to see if they're on it. They saw that they were briefly on it, but it doesn't matter now. They used that plant and there is no vision. Xin Zhao goes for a suicide engage once again, but at this time he's able to ult and not take much more damage. Viego tries to go in for the snare. They do get the pick off. Zeri's able to position with her Xin Zhao to get another kill onto the Victor. And she's doing a lot of damage with this Titanic Hydra. She's doing so much AoE. Leona goes in, but it doesn't matter, and that's another kill for Zeri on the backside. Graves also exhausted means that he can't do anything, and Polymorph means she's going to pick up another kill. Akali goes in, though. Viego on Akali, I should say, goes in, though. And look at, once again, she's able to go forward. She's so incredibly strong, so incredibly tanky right now, and she is so fed that it doesn't matter. This is exactly what I was talking about. If this Lulu is able to protect her, if the Xin Zhao can peel for her, this Zeri can be a absolute menace to the other team. And that's what they showcased right here. They get 4 kills for only 2, and the 2 people that died are, I would argue, the least important on the team right now. The least impactful. It was actually 3, I should say. But Zeri getting even more gold into her pocket means that she's going to be so incredibly useful. And I mean, she is going to be the carry here. As I've said time and time again, she is the DPS that this blue team needs. And I would say abandon the Kog'Maw, abandon the Akali. Xin Zhao and Lulu just need to help this Zeri as much as they humanly can. But this is Soul Point. It is Ocean Soul for the red team. And that reset, even though there were kills, still doesn't mean anything because they are in the position for this Ocean Drake. This is going to be the soul for them. And Xin Zhao ease forward. What was he possibly thinking? He has to stopwatch. He has no flash. There's no way of getting out of this pit. That means even though he's surviving with his ulti up, he goes in. But it doesn't matter. He's getting bursted. And there goes the Graves with the Q. Akali has to ult out and she's half health. She has no more tools for this fight. Sure, she can Q if she wants to, but it doesn't matter. They're just going to try and secure. But no, Zeri with the amazing steal onto the Ocean Soul. That means they get one more Drake. It's not a soul for them, but it doesn't matter. Zeri gets taken out, and that is a massive bounty for the Tristana. And that is a massive fumble. Yes, you get the point away from the red team, but 4 people die. And now it's a free Baron for the red team. Overall, it was well played at first. I think if you get that steal away, you don't necessarily need to fight there, but it is solo queue, and so the best thing you can do, I guess, is to fight, especially if you are the most fed member on your team. But at the end of the day, the 12-1 Zeri gives over 1,000 gold bounty to the Tristana, and so while she was incredibly far behind, she now is going to have enough for probably a full item, if not half an item at least. So let's see what Tristana wants to pick up here. She actually went mid-side to pick up some more CS. She was probably close to her item. And it has to be a full item buy right after 1,000 gold shutdown. She buys a rapid fire cannon and a pink ward, right? So she gets a full other item. She's starting to catch up. She was so far behind, but now she's starting to scale. She's starting to catch up to a point where she can actually fight a little bit more in these team fights. Victor also approaching Rabadon's death cap, but look at this build from Impact. He has 4 items and a crit cloak again. He is 1 item away from full build. 8-4-4, almost Flame Horizoning his top lane matchup. And you know, even though the fights are sometimes being a little bit awkward, it doesn't matter because they're still doing so much damage. We did miss a fight in the bot lane. That is my fault on the observing, but it was just a trade of top laners, right? It was Graves for the Akali, but there was a lot more people there trying to 1v3 or 1v4 rather even, potentially on that Graves, and that's the only reason he died, and he still traded a kill. But blue team, they're messing up right now. Kog'Maw is not in a position to be able to fight this, and they're going to get a free inhib out of this, while the blue team has to have delayed backs. That was just a massive fumble. Sure, they go kill the Graves, but what does that amount to? A down inhib in the mid lane? It's not a trade you want to take any day of the week. If Impact's looking at that, he's going, great, you killed me, but I killed one of you, and you lost an inhib for it. Tristana and Victor also still able to do this. I mean, again, Kog'Maw is 1-7 with 2 items. There's no way he's going to ever be able to fight this, and boom, just like that. Sure, he's going to try and kill the Victor. Is he going to be able to do it? Nope, true damage is not enough, and that's 2 inhibs down, all because of the mistake they had. And there is a fight going on over here. Xin Zhao, though, is 3 levels down, and there is no world in which you actually win this fight at all. I mean, just look, it is hilarious to see. On the other side, Victor dies. He was low, but look, Tristana goes in. She's on a suicide mission as well. I mean, everybody is just kind of running it down. And even during that fight, Graves himself went down again. Seems like we're doing a little bit of trolling on the server, but it is solo queue, so there is a little bit of a fiesta to be had inherently in any one of these games. Ayla on the red team pinging the flashes of his Tristana and his Victor. And Viego just picking up the bad side. Now, the rest of this game should be easy to write home about. There shouldn't have to be any worries for the red team. Yes, the kills look relatively even, but the only carry you really have to worry about is the Zeri. And she's full build at this point. She's going to do the most damage that she possibly can right now. But if you're the red team and you're able to pick off that Zeri, if you're able to stop her from getting the peel that she needs, you win the team fight, you win the game. And also with 2 inhibs down, you don't really need to worry much, right? The waves are going to push in naturally. If you get any pick or they shove out, you have the potential to get a pick on them. And then the game's just over anyway. So let's take a look at what's going to happen here. Leona is walking up, pink ward and vision control for the red team. Zeri and Lulu walking around. They are spotted on vision right now. They place a pink though and realize that they were on vision. And now they're trying to collapse. The Viego and Leona are going around. If they can catch them out right here and kill the Zeri, this could be a huge, huge game changer in the end of the game, rather, actually. Tristana jumps forward. 1 auto, does a little bit of chunkage, but not much else to write home about. And with Dragon coming up very soon, there's nothing else to be said, right? This is Ocean Soul Point. They're going to have to fight them at this Dragon. And if they don't, they outright lose the game, I would say. I mean, Ocean Soul is an incredibly strong one. They are prepping, though. And Shirelia's is pressed. The Leona comes out, though, and that stops the engage. Xin Zhao does E forward, though. Flashes in, trying to get the knockup, but it doesn't matter. His ult is down. Zeri cleanses. Xin Zhao flashes, and all that's to be said at the end of that is some ults burned for the red side, but a lot more burned on the blue team. And especially right before Drag is up and the waves pushing in and top and mid, that pretty much guarantees a singular soul take from the Viego. He does enough damage here. There's nothing else to be said, right? They get the soul. And what's Xin Zhao going to do? He's going to engage on the Victor who's 3 levels above? No, he's not. Zeri can wave clear as well as she can, but once this soul is taken, the game is so much harder to win in a team fight. I mean, look at the regen already coming out from Victor. It's just unreal. Gets an E off and already heals almost back to full. Tristana does have to jump away. Emotes to taunt him a little bit because they know that the game is pretty much in their hands. And look at it in the mid lane. There are supers going up. 3 people need to answer this. And it's a suffocation, right? Like, this is standard League of Legends in its purest form in solo queue. At this point, once you have this lead, you just keep pushing. You just keep pressuring. You got Ocean Soul. You never need to back at this point in the game. You're pretty much full build, so what are you going to do? You're going to E as Victor. You're going to laser them out. You're going to try to CC as Leona if you get a single chance to. But look at what's happening here. I mean, the damage is not even close, right? Like, yeah, Graves takes some here. He ults. The ult does no damage because of Xin Zhao and his ulti, but it means nothing. Graves is already back over half HP. He's able to get fleet footwork off, and it means nothing again. Zeri does get a kill though, and if she keeps getting the resets, oh, it's going to be huge. Akali gets a kill, but Zeri is shut down, and that means the game should be pretty much over. Looking at Xin Zhao, he's taking a 1v1 versus the Graves. He does get the knockup, but look at all the damage coming out. The Lulu dies on top of it, and Impact is also able to get a second kill. Look at how far ahead he is. Sure, he doesn't have IE as the final part of his build, but he is able to dish out enough damage to help pretty much win the game right now. That Zeri going down means the rest of the game is pretty much won. There's nothing to worry about here. I mean, Kog'Maw is so far behind. Everyone else is so far behind that really it didn't matter how close it looked. Once that Zeri was gone and out of there, the game was over. And it looks like it's going to be ending right now. There's too much of a death timer on all the carries, and Graves and Viego are still alive. So that is my cast of EG Impact solo queue game. Hopefully there's more energy in this cast compared to yesterday's. Obviously there were some redundancies, but I am trying to get better on my journey. If you do have any criticisms, you can give me genuine, kind criticism down below. Please let me know so that way I can continue in the next cast and try to get better at this. Thank you so much for watching if you do watch, and I will see you in the next cast that I'm practicing.